Jordan Peterson is known to give out controversial statements almost every time he makes a public appearance. This time he talked about how we are all somewhat like the German dictator who is known for mass genocide. Yep, let's talk a little more about it in today's video. First off, the Canadian professor made an absurd claim. Jordan Peterson has now claimed that all of us had a bit of the Nazi leader Adolf Hitler within us. Yep, that's certain to raise eyebrows in just about everyone, but Peterson is never far from a provocative stance or absurd comment. During his speaking tour of the UK this week, the controversial conservative Canadian professor and commentator stopped by Piers Morgan's Uncensored Talk TV show on Wednesday night. Secondly, Peterson had some thoughts about Putin. Russian President Vladimir Putin's new nuclear threats to the West following his announcement of the partial mobilization of soldiers to Ukraine dominated the pair's interesting chat. Peterson, 60, a licensed psychologist, attempted to offer some in-depth commentary on Putin, but was halted in his tracks by a single statement. Peterson started by saying that Putin is a lot like everyone else. Any comparisons to Hitler or Stalin are frankly ridiculous. Right off the bat, both Hitler and Stalin were one-of-a-kind characters. Astonished, the interviewee was asked by the professor why Nazism could have expanded so rapidly if people didn't agree with it on some level, further adding that the general public has the impression that it's all been downplayed when in fact it hasn't been. What's more, he claimed that Putin is scaring the Russians into submission. According to Peterson, Joseph Goebbels once said that the easiest way to convince a large number of people to go along with what you want them to do is to terrify them. Putin is essentially doing the same thing in Russia, returning to the position that everyone is out to get them and want to assault or overthrow the country. He's scaring his people into insufficient support for a war he initiated that isn't going as planned. Fortunately, Peterson didn't elaborate on why we all have a little Hitler in us, and then continued to give his reasoning for how Putin's tactics are akin to his favorite topic, cancel culture. Next up, we have the psychologist's views on the cancel culture. Once again, Jordan Peterson has shared his thoughts on the effects of PC culture and policing on higher education. According to the psychologist's interview with The Telegraph, cancel culture is especially harmful at colleges, whose main goal is to encourage students to develop their own original ideas. The scholar emphasized that no distinction between free expression and free thought exists. There can be no thinking without the freedom to think. By definition, thought must be unrestrained, or it ceases to be thought. We do the majority of our thinking in words. Therefore, if you can't express yourself, you won't be able to think for long, claimed the controversial speaker. Coming up, Peterson is a proud Islamophobe as well. The best-selling author of 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, has experienced cancellation firsthand after a photo of Peterson with a man wearing an "I'm a proud Islamophobe" t-shirt surfaced online in 2019. Cambridge University revoked its invitation of a visiting fellowship for Peterson. The professor said it was a terrible choice and a huge error in judgment. Peterson stated that the t-shirt's caption offended him, but he nonetheless agreed to pose for a photo with the man in support of free speech. The invitation was canceled, but a handful of Cambridge dons resolved to challenge it. A month ago, Peterson attended the school and spoke at a few events and seminars. Let's look at his support of Cambridge's methodology. The professor believes that Cambridge's decentralized collegiate arrangement is what gives the school the strength to fight cancel culture. Peterson asserts his statements that no academic field is safe from being taken means that other institutions have already lost the war. There are examples of this in both medicine and chemistry. The psychologist claims that permanent positions at the University of California can be denied to candidates without regard to the quality of their research because of their views on diversity and inclusion. Peterson also cites the Royal Society of Chemistry as an organization that published guidelines for its employees, one of which purportedly urged the reduction of the likelihood of publishing improper or objectionable content. According to the rules, we should look at how the recipient interprets the words, rather than the writer's purpose to establish whether or not anything is offensive. Finally, we have some more controversial opinions of the author. The concept of white privilege, in his view, is false. After he listed a number of other factors, health, wealth, age, economic status, etc., he labeled race and ethnicity as postmodernist. He attacked a single woman's research on white privilege, pointing out that it was not submitted to any form of peer review or critical analysis. As he examines it more closely, white privilege becomes majority privilege. As instances of conservative philosophers who have established firm political boundaries, Peterson cites William Buckley and more recently Ben Shapiro. Conservative ideals are not shared by the far right. Peterson elaborates by saying that the left's lack of self-awareness is the root of the problem. Many liberals don't appear to take the threat of purposeful disregard for coherence seriously. Sam Harris stated that his first book, The End of Faith, had no mention of atheism. Nonetheless, people still refer to him as an atheist. It's clear that anyone who would criticize the Bible so stridently also doesn't believe in God. Peterson argues that the concepts are rarely defined, so making a binary option like you either believe in God or you don't would be unjust. It's practically impossible to deduce meaning from such vague concepts as belief or God. Next, in other news, Olivia Wilde made Jordan Peterson cry. When confronted about Olivia Wilde calling him a hero to the incel community, Jordan Peterson cried during an appearance on Piers Uncensored. While promoting her new movie, Don't Worry Darling, Wilde told an interviewer for Interview magazine that Chris Pine's evil character, Frank, is based on Peterson. The incel community's hero, as Wilde put it, Peterson is a pseudo-intellectual. When Piers Morgan inquired if Wilde's opinion of him was accurate, Peterson responded that he's been the target of harassment for quite some time now, due to the fact that he often addresses groups of disgruntled young males. Peterson became emotional, saying it's hard to comprehend the hopelessness of others, especially young males, as those male outcasts are so lonely and confused that they take everyone's insults in stride. Disenfranchised, predominantly white men who feel they have a right to sex with women is how Wilde characterized incels, and they think that society has cheated them out of their rightful place, that the feminist movement is fighting against nature, and that women need to be put back in their proper sphere. Since Jordan Peterson is a former professor, an author, and dresses formally, they see him as validating certain tenets of their movement. Coming up, Jordan Peterson is treating Cristiano Ronaldo for his depression. Cristiano Ronaldo has decided to get therapy as he faces what may be the worst time of his life and career. People may not understand that Jordan Peterson is a highly trained clinical psychologist, despite his status as an internet celebrity. He has a track record of having his work published in high-impact medical journals around the world. Cristiano Ronaldo praised the author despite widespread criticism of his work as right-wing propaganda. After reading one, the Manchester United forward agreed to host Peterson at his house in Manchester during the latter's time in the UK. In the past 2 weeks, Ronaldo has uploaded an Instagram photo of himself with Peterson without providing any additional information. In an interview, the psychologist talked about his session with the famous footballer. A buddy of Ronaldo's apparently forwarded some of Peterson's videos to him when Ronaldo was going through a rough patch. Soon after, he read one of his books and benefited from it. In a 2-hour-long session, the two talked about the footballer's training routine, businesses, future, and the challenges that he has recently faced. Lastly, Jordan Peterson pathetically dead-naming Elliot Page again. 2 months after being banned from Twitter, Jordan Peterson has made a triumphant return by, of course, dead-naming Elliot Page once again. The conservative author and psychologist Jordan Peterson, who is infamous for his anti-trans attitudes, was banned from the social media site because of his behavior. On June 22nd, he dead-named the trans actor and used a pronoun that did not match his gender identity. Peterson stated he deleted the offensive post on Saturday, the 27th of August, but then he shared a screenshot of it. Twitter said he may return to the service if he did so. Peterson announced his comeback by tweeting that the tweet that got him banned had to be deleted temporarily so that he could do some unrelated required house cleaning of his account, but that he had a screenshot which he would not delete. In the past, Peterson had declared, "I'd rather die than take back his criticism of the star of Umbrella Academy." In a YouTube rant against Page that lasted 15 minutes, he branded the trans community as a viciously dangerous trend. That's a wrap for this video. Do you want to know about the other controversial claims that the author and psychologist has made? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.